Namaskaram friends. So in today's video, I am going to talk about news which are going on from 23 of May to 28th of May 2022 and we revise the whole news of the whole 6 days through questions. That means on daily basis I uploaded a video in which I solved five questions. So on from 23 to 28 in 6 days we solved 30 questions. So now in this video we try to revise all those concepts through questions. Okay, through questions we try to revise all those 30 concepts which are in different in history, in culture, in politics, in economy, in science and technology, and in other different sectors. So it is very important because when we revise any concept through question, it embedded in our mind in such a manner that if any problem come related to that, first of all our question appear in front of us and we solve that issue related to that. So we deal with in a question answer form. There are any other methods through story, through other mechanism you can deal with it. But I am trying to deal the whole 30 question of the last 6 days through question format. And in each and every question, we try to understand its basic concept and try to eliminate one option which is incorrect and try to mark the correct answer on the basis of our knowledge. So it is a revision lecture and from 23 to 28th of May 2022. So now I am going to solve the first question of today's video. Consider the following statement regarding forest fires in India. Regarding to forest fire, we read this topic in our previous lectures. So the first one is the forest fire season in India lasts between November to June. Yes, this is completely true. It is last between November to June. In India, most of the forest fire spread quickly from one top of the tree to another. No, it is very rare in India. Okay, you can say ground forest and surface forests are very much prevalent in India. This one is talk about one tree to another tree. This is you can say a crown forest, crown fire. This is not prevalent in India. So option second is incorrect. In the last 2 years, highest number of forest fire have been reported in the northeast state. No. Top 5 states where the forest fire are reported is you can say MP, MH, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Uttarakhand. Okay, these are 5 states. But later on, Himachal, Tripura, you can say Mizoram, and I think Assam are later on added in this. So you can say top 5 are this, in which no northeastern state. Later on, these are added, which are frequent for in this arena, but you cannot say the highest number of forest fire happened is reported in the northeast region. There are other states also. So this one is incorrect. That means our option is 1. Let us check we are on the right path or not. So option A is correct. That means we are on the right path. So now let's move on to question number second. Question number second talk about consider the following statement regarding Forest Rights Act. Regarding to Forest Rights Act, what in this act what is provided and which ministry is the implementing body of it. So Ministry of Environment, MOEFCC is the implementing agency. No. Ministry of Tribal Affairs. The FRA provides for equal right in titles issued under the Act for women. Yes, this provides equal right in titles issued under the Act for women. So completely true. The Act established Forest Right Committee comprising members from within the village to facilitate the implementation of the Act. Yes. You can say 20 members, 15 to 20 members for the village in which 2/3 from ST community, 1/3 are women, and it facilitates the you can say titles granted under the Forest Right Act. So Forest Right Committee is comprising the member within the village. So this one is correct. Okay, this one is correct. This one is also no. This one is wrong. So option is 2 and 3. That means C. Just check we are on the right path or not. Option is C. So we are on the right path. Now move on to the next question. I talk about from each and every concept in detail in my video on of 23rd, 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28. So you visit that video and understand the topic. Here I am just solving question very fast. Just read the option and mark it correct and incorrect, then mark the option and then move on to the next question. So I do not explain the detail of each and every question in this video. Okay. So here currently this question is currently the National Family Health Survey. NFHS provide information. NFHS provide information of fertility and child mortality. Yes, it's provide information of fertility, on child mortality, in contraceptive practices, quality of select health services, non-communicable disease, and reproductive child health. On all these issues, this provide services. And later on, HIV and vitamin 3D, D3 are also added in this. So this, and also this. So all the option is correct. That means option is D. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option D is correct. So we are on the right path. Let us move on to next question. Consider the following statement. Justice K.S. Putta Swamy judgment by the Supreme Court of India reaffirmed the fundamental right to privacy. Yes, this judgment reaffirmed the fundamental right to privacy. Justice B.S. Krishna Committee proposed the draft PDP bill, personal data protection bill. Yes, Justice Krishna Committee proposed this bill, and in the Justice Putta Swamy case, Supreme Court reaffirmed the right to privacy judgment. In India, the law authority non-consensual access to personal data or interpretation of the personal information. There is no law in India which authorizes any body to intercept the personal data of any person. So this one is wrong. So option is 1 and 2. That means option A is correct. Okay. So solution is A. That means option A is correct. Okay. So just check we are on the right path or not. So option A is correct. Okay. X again. Okay, so sorry for disturbance. There is some important, there is an emergency situation. Someone is coming in front of my house and asking for something, so I have to go there. So sorry for that. So now we are going to move on to the next question. So the next question is, consider the following statement. RBI has a little ability to control food and fuel prices, which together account for over 50% of the CPI. Okay, yes, RBI have the ability to control the food and fuel prices in this regard of very little. So this one is correct. Raising the repo rate. Okay, raising the repo rate will certainly contain the price of vegetables of all times. No, raising the repo rate not contain the prices of food and vegetables. So this one is wrong. So which one is correct? Option A is correct. So just check we are on the right path or not. Yes, we are on the right path. So option A is correct. Now let us move on to the question of 24th of May 2022. The first question of this day is, consider the following statement regarding places of worship special provision in 1991. So this topic is very much in news. So we are talking about the places of worship special provision in 1991. So the Act declared that religious character of places of worship shall continue to be the same as it existed on 26th of November. This Act talked about that religious character of places of worship shall continue the same as it existed on not 26th of January of 15th of August 1947. The day Constitution came into effect, no, the day of our independence. So this one is wrong. Second is, the Act bars the conversion of a place of worship of any religious denomination into a place of worship of different religious denomination. Yes, the Act bars conversion of place of worship from one religious denomination to another. So this one is correct. That means option 2 is correct. Just check we are on the right path or not. So we are on the right path. Option 2 is correct. Now let us move on to another question. Consider the following statement regarding accredited social health activist ASAs in India. Okay, accredited social health activist ASAs in India. So ASAs facilitate linking household to health facilities and play a pivotal role in house-to-house survey. Yes, ASA facilitate linking households to the health facility and also play a pivotal role in house-to-house survey in the public health, reproductive, and child health insurance. In terms of child health insurance, reproductive, public health, public house-to-house survey, in all this activity, ASAs facilitate all this activity. So this one is correct. Along with fixed salary, like government servant get performance based payment. No, they only get performance based payment, not fixed payment. So this one is wrong. Asaj must primarily be a woman resident of a village they serve. Yes, this one is correct. That means option 1 and 3. Just check we are on the right path or not. Option is B. So we are on the right path. Okay. So just check. Now let's move on to another question. Question is, one China policy. So one China policy is a policy of United States regarding Taiwan. Okay. When China attack on Taiwan, United States have a no, I'm sorry. That is a different issue. One China policy is basically a policy of United States. Okay. They consider Taiwan and China later on differently, but earlier differently, but later on they changed their stance and supported China rather than Taiwan. So this one is concept of United States. Consider the following state. Consider next question. Which of the following committees address the issues regarding Armed Forces Special Power Act or recommended for the repeal of the AFSPA Act? So which of the following committee address the issue of AFSPA and recommendation is appeal or some other recommendation regarding it? Justice Verma Committee, yes. Justice Verma Committee recommended the repeal of the act. BP Jeevan Reddy Committee also recommended its modification in it. MK Singh Committee, no. He is a chairman of Finance Commission and earlier of FRBM, but not to this. And second, ARC also suggests some measure according to AFSPA. So 1, 2, and 4. That means option A is correct. So now just let's move on to the another question. Question is, which of the following are the essential elements of democracy? Essential elements of democracy is value of freedom. Yes, value of freedom is essential elements of democracy. Respect for human rights. Yes, respect for human rights is a essential elements of democracy. And holding periodic and genuine election by universal suffrage. So by universal suffrage, holding genuine and periodic election is also part of the essential of democracy. So holding election, protecting, respecting human rights, and that value of freedom. So all the option. So option D is correct. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option D is correct. That means we are on the right path. Now let's move on to the another question. Another question of 25th of May 2022. So the first question of this page. Consider the following regarding the recently launched IPEF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. IPF is a new economic initiative led by USA. Yes, correct. The grouping includes all the members of this, only 7 members of ASEAN. So this one is wrong. IPF is a free trade, no, it is not free trade agreement. So this one is also wrong. So option is B. That means option B is correct. So just check we are on the right path or not. So option B is correct. That means we are on the right path. Now let's move on to the next question. Consider the following statement. The policy of strategic ambiguity. The policy of strategic ambiguity is practiced by government of being intentionally ambiguous on certain aspects of its foreign policy. Yes. So the policy of strategic ambiguity is the practice by government of being intentionally ambiguous on certain aspects of foreign policy. This one is correct. Next one is the United States had long followed a policy of this on whether it would intervene militarily to protect Taiwan in the event of Chinese attack. Yes, this is in this context. This topic is news in this context because Joe Biden claimed that, or you can say in a speech, he said that if any Chinese attack happens on Taiwan, so USA send military and also provide arms and ammunition to Taiwan. So this news is in this context. United States is required by law to provide Taiwan with a means of defense itself in the event of Chinese attack. Yes, this one is also correct. So option is 1, 2, and 3. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option D is correct. That means we are on the right path. Now let us move on to another question. The World of Work report is recently seen in the news. Is related by World of Work is related by ILO, and they said many important data related to it. That means 3.8% of people lose their employment regarding pre-COVID. That means approximately 11.2 crore people lose their job. So World of Work report is this, and also claim that first quarter of 2022 saw less hour of human work. Okay, so this answer is ILO, option C. So we are on the right path. Now let's move on to the another question. Question is, fundamental right and fundamental duty are correlative and inseparable. Yes, FR and FT are correlative and inseparable. Second one is, fundamental rights universally apply to all citizens irrespective of race, place of birth, religion, caste, and gender. So this one is also correct. So fundamental right universally apply to all citizens irrespective of race, place of birth, religion, caste, and gender. This one is correct. Third one is the original constitution did not contain fundamental duty, fundamental right. No, original constitution contain fundamental right, not contain fundamental right, but not contain fundamental duty. But this statement talk about did not contain both. So this one is wrong. So option is 1 and 2. That means option A. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option A is correct. Yes, we are on the right path. Now let's move on to another question. Which of the following can lead to the weakening of Indian rupee? Weakening of Indian rupee. Widening trade deficit. Yes, trade deficit widen, it rupees the weakening because when trade deficit widen, that means we demand more dollar. We, or you can say we demand more imports. So in this manner, value of rupee depreciated. Foreign investors pulling out funds from the Indian stock market. If they pull out their fund, that means demand of dollar increases because demand of dollar is less available in the market. That's why a weakening of rupee happens. This one is correct. This one is correct. Rapid increase of crude oil prices in the global market. Yes, because of this demand of dollar increase in the global international markets. So this one is also lead to the weakening of rupee. So all the options 1, 2, and 3 are correct. That means option D. Just check we are on the right path or not. Just a minute. I think pen is not working. Really some problem occur related to pen. Okay, just a minute. So I think option is D. Here I can say paint this in black so that we do not see the answer while solving the question. But I think some problem occur in the pen. Yeah, it's resolved. Okay, it's resolved. So option is D. We are on the right path. Now let's move on to the solving question of 26th of May 2022. So first question is consider the following statement. When an economy goes through the phase of high inflation, when inflation is high, there is a chances that the unemployment rate will fall. Yes, if inflation is high, that means demand of commodities increases. So to gain profit out of it, firm recruit more people to produce these things. So unemployment decreases. So this one is correct. High inflation rate can lower the purchasing power of consumer. Yes, if high inflation rate, to commodity prices of commodity become high, but less money is available in the hands of the people. So it lower the purchasing power of the consumer because less money in their hand and also prices of this is high, so it lower the purchasing power. The RBI monetary policy has a direct effect? No, not direct effect on the cost plus inflation. It has an indirect impact. So option is 1 and 2. That means option is A. So we are on the right path. Okay, option A is correct. Now let's move on to another question. The Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, that is IPF, are centered around which of the following pillars? It is centered around trade, yes. Supply chain, yes. Clean energy, yes. Taxes, clean energy, supply chain, and trade. And these all are the 4 pillars of the IPF. So option is D. That means option. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option is D. We are on the right path. Now let us move on to another question. Consider the following statement. The phrase anti-national activity was added in defined in the 42nd Constitution of the Amendment Act 1976 and subsequently retained. No, it is through 42nd Amendment Act 1976 we inserted Article 31D and in which we defined the international activity, but later on through 43rd Amendment Act 1970, I think here is 6 and 1977 we removed this section. So it is not subsequently retained. This is wrong. Public order and police are state subject as per the second section of the Constitution. Yes. This one is correct. That means option is which statement is incorrect. So 1 is incorrect. So option is A. So we are on the right path. Now let's move on to another question. Another question is rare earth metals have its application in which of the following area? So its application in water treatment, yes. Petroleum refining, yes. Rare earth metals are used in water treatment, petroleum refining, in X-ray imaging, fiber optics, as well as in MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. So all the option is correct. That means option D. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option D is correct. Now let us move on to another question. The total length of a coastline of India's mainland, Lakshadweep Island and Andaman and Nicobar. That means total length of the coastline of India's mainland and Lakshadweep Island and Andaman and Nicobar is together is more than length of the land frontier. No, length of the land frontier is approximately 15,000 km and length of coastline is approximately 7,500 km. So this one is better, not that one. So this one is wrong. Sri Lanka is separated from India by a narrow channel of sea formed by the Pak Strait and Gulf of Mannar. Yes, this one is correct. That means option is 2, B. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option is B, we are on the right path. Now let's move on to another question. Which of the following are the advantages of phytoremediation? Phytoremediation is a process in which plant absorb toxic material from the soil. It is a cost effective, yes, because you do not require input cost. You do not require higher machinery, technology, and energy in comparison to other remediation methods. Yes. No external energy source is required since the plant grows with the help of sunlight. Yes. It enriches the soil with organic substances. Yes. With organic substances and microorganisms. It protects soil from erosion due to wind and water. Yes. So option is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That means D. Just check we are on the right path or not. Yes, we are on the right path. D. So now let us move on to another question. Consider the following statement. India is the world's largest producer and largest exporter of sugar. India is the world's largest producer but second largest exporter. First one is Brazil. This one is wrong. When the government moves export of sugar to a stated category, it means export of sugar is allowed only with the special permission from Directorate of Sugar. Yes, which come under the Department of Food and Public Distribution. This one is correct. According to WTO rules, the government cannot provide subsidy to promote sugar. No. Government provides subsidy as well as you can say subsidy as well as quota to mills of sugar company so that they export more sugar in the foreign market. So this one is wrong. So option is 2. That means B. Just check we are on the right path or not. That means option is B. Now let's move on to another question. To revise and strengthen the monetary policy framework in India, RBI chosen to target retail inflation because wholesale inflation does not generally reflect price movement in all wholesale market. Yes, this one is correct. Wholesale inflation does not capture price movement in non-commodity producing sectors like services, which constitute close to 2/3 of the economic activity of India. Yes. WPI do not consider the services sector and also does not generally reflect the price movement of all goods, in which milk, they do not cover milk, LPG and other stuff like that. So this one is true, this one is true. WPI often reflect large external shocks, yes. And as such, and the wholesale inflation rate is often subject to large revision. Yes. WPI is subject to large revision and reflect large external shock, not small external shock. And also do not cover services and also not cover reflect all wholesale prices market. That means all these three are correct. That means option is D. So just check we are on the right path here. We are so now let's go on to solve another question. In economy, Kunz theory is related. Kunz theory is related to basically inverted U curve related to per capita income and employment. So this one is related to I'm sorry, inequality. Earlier inequality increases then decreases. So this is a developing country, this is a developed country. So option is B. Just check we are on the right path or not. Yes, we are on the right path. Now let's move on to solve another question. Consider the following statement regarding Vansua festival. So Vansua festival is celebrated in Karbi Anglong district of Assam. Yes, and it is celebrated by Tawa tribes. Okay, pay respect to God for the bountiful grain and you can say protect their crop from prey and natural calamity. So Tiwa tribe of the Karbi Anglong district of Assam celebrate the Vansua festival. So both options are correct. That means option C is correct. So now let's move on to another question of 28th of May 2022. So consider the following statement regarding Mangar massacre. Mangar massacre, it is in the Indian history. Mangar massacre took place after the Jallianwala. No, it happened 6 years before the Jallianwala. So this one is wrong. It referred to the Adivasi Jallianwala. Yes, it is referred to Adivasi Jallianwala because in which hundreds of Bhil tribes being killed by the British forces, and it is happened on the hills of the Mangar which is on the border of Rajasthan and Gujarat. So hills of Mangadi is located on the border of Rajasthan and Gujarat. Yes. So option 2 is correct, 3 is correct. That means option C is correct. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option C is correct. So we are on the right path. Now let's move on to another question. Consider the following statement regarding GNU movement, Generational Unlimited Movement. So it is a global multi-sector partnership. It is a global multi-sector, that means different sector partnership in this. Yes, to meet the urgent need for expand education, training and employment opportunity for the young people aged 10 to 24 years. Yes, for the young generation 10 to 24 years. First, this education for training, for education and for employment, global multi-sector partnership is carried out. So this one is correct. It is launched by the UNESCO. No, it is launched by UNICEF, United Nations International Children Agency Fund. So second one is wrong. The India chapter of Generation Unlimited is UA. Yes, where state government are working to enhance young people access to education, skilling and civic engagement opportunities. Education, skilling and this. So third one is correct. That means option C is correct. Just check we are on the right path or not. So option C is correct. Now let's move on to another question. Consider the following statement. In India, the privately held asset reconstruction company are set up under the Surface Act. Yes. Privately held ARCs are set up under Surface Act. This one is correct. Second one is ARCs India can buy non-performing asset from bank with the combination of cash and security. Yes. ARC of India buy NPAs from the bank in the combination of both cash as well as security. So both of the options are correct. So you need to talk about which one is incorrect. That means B. Neither one is incorrect. So just check we are on the right path or not. We are on the right path. Now let's move on to the another question. Another question is Thola Pava Kothu. Thola Pava Kothu is basically a temple art, ancient shadow-based temple art form. So option C is correct. It is performed in the region of Kerala. It is new because an all-women Thola Pava Kothu. You can say all women Thola Pava Kothu event is organized by a woman member of the Thola Pava Kothu family. So this one is C. So just check we are on the right path or not. So we are on the right path. Now let's move on to the last question of today's lecture. Consider the following organ of human body can be donated. So your option is given. You have to choose which organ we can donate. Can we donate heart? Yes. Liver? Yes. Cornea? Yes. Kidney? Yes. Pancreas? Yes. So option is E. So we are on the right path. So this is the end of this lecture, and in this lecture we are solving 30 questions. I solve very rapidly because in detail I talk about on the day of, on each and every day I recorded a lecture of 30 to 40 minutes, and in that video I explain the concept of each and every question. That's why I solve it very fast. It must be solved within half an hour. 30 questions, that means half an hour. We have to solve in 25 to 30 minutes. But I think more time because at some point of time I explaining, but you have to just read the question, solve it, read the question, solve it. This is the main purpose of revision and solving question. So I hope you love this lecture and you enjoy this lecture. So namaskaram, thank you.